Oh wow,
Okay.
recording in progress. Nice.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
so today, I've got basically this is like my favorite session because we're going to be talking about it's a critical skill, but I base it off of my favorite book. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And I do this, probably work best. All right. Y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, basically uh, communication is like it's key for everything that we do. Um, so the there we go. The people we communicate are everywhere in our lives. Like we have to be able to communicate effectively with our family. You know, if we want to stay married, you know, it's really important to communicate with your spouse. If you want to raise good kids, you want to be able to communicate with them. Um, and our and if you want to make friends, you have to be able to communicate. Otherwise, you know, you'll be alone. When I was at the wedding reception, I'm kind of an introvert, and so I tend to sit there quietly. And I had to break out of my comfort zone and reach out and talk to people that I didn't know. Um, so that's how strangers become friends. And if you want to be successful in work, you have to be able to communicate with the people that you work with, the people that you work for, um, and that includes your, you know, the the people like your managers and supervisors, and also the customers, because you're working for both of them. Um, and it's also, you know, you need to be able to talk to people who are in the company, and and you don't necessarily work for them, but you know they're like in a different department and that sort of thing, because word gets around, and you want to be a good ambassador for your organization, even within the company. Um, this is like my favorite book. Um, my father gave this to me when I was I don't know, 10 or 12. He gave me a copy of this book and said, this is something you really want to read. And it's one of those that I really recommend you read it once a year. And that's one of the reasons I like to do this. It's sort of a, a refresher of the, the main points in this book. Have either of you read this?
No.
Oh gosh, you're in for a treat.
I haven't also read it, but it has been highly recommended for me.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been the essential reference book for shoot 70 years, I think. It's just yeah, oh,
Yeah.
75 years. There we go.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
75 years. So yeah, uh, it was like one of the greatest um, business communication books, and it's I think that you know Dale Carnegie is like the master of link bait, because he's named his chapters things like "He who can do this has the whole world with him, and he who cannot walks a lonely way." And do this, and you'll be welcome anywhere. When nothing else works, try this. And so it's like, okay, now I really want to read it. So he
Wow.
is masterful at that. But you probably have heard of you know Dale Carnegie workshops, and to help you learn to do public speaking. But he's got another book on public speaking. But this is the first book that he wrote as he was teaching his course in how to communicate, and it really condenses all of the essential skills and attitudes you need to have as you're communicating. So we'll go over some of the main principles of the book here. First, you know, when you're trying to work with people. And I tell you what, this is probably the best way to stay married. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest and sincere appreciation and arouse in the other person an eager want for whatever it is you want to convince them to do. And these are all critical skills, but I mean they're fundamentals too. It's, if you think about it, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. It seems like it would be really easy, but the thing is, we often do that. Once the person walks out of the room, we start complaining. Why did he have to say that, or what's he do? Why is he doing this? Or I think this is a dumb idea. It's like, well, why don't you say that to them when they're in the room, so that you can build the relationship rather than tear it down behind them. And giving honest and sincere appreciation. I mean, there's a lot of times when you will say something but you don't really mean it, and people can pick up on that, and that really undermines the relationship, because people can tell when appreciation is not sincere. And we have a we have a scrum meeting every morning, and we got a new scrum master who was new at doing scrum mastering, and she wants us to follow certain procedures and processes that we're not familiar with, and we're not doing it because we're not familiar with it. We don't think to do all the little special things she wants done, and so she nags us. And guess what that makes us want to do? It's like this is having the opposite effect, and she is just beyond exasperated. If you arouse in the other person an eager want, if you make it something that we would want to do, turn it into a game for us, make it fun, then yeah, we're happy to help. But if you're going to nag us, I promise we're going to dig in our heels. That's just human nature. And then these are some skills I had to practice last night at the wedding reception. 6 ways to make people like you. If you don't know what to say to somebody, ask them a question. Do you have any kids? What do you do for a living? What do you do with your kids? What do your kids do for a living? I promise they will lead the conversation forever. Smile. People are much more approachable when they smile. If you're just kind of always lost in thought or looking serious, people are going to let you be. And remember that a person's name to that person is the sweetest, most important sound in any language. I love the way he puts that. It's just, we love to hear our names. That's just the way it is. That's human nature. And if someone says our name, I know there's some salesmen I know who just say your name over and over again. It gets kind of irritating. But it's you tend to like somebody who remembers your name. I remember I met one guy in college, and every time he saw me, he would say, "Hi, Scott." It's like, man, I don't even know this guy's name. I met him once. But he made it a point to remember my name. And so that made me feel special. Yeah, be a good listener. This is something I often struggle with, is I tend to talk a lot if I get nervous. And so I try to be a good listener and be genuinely interested in other people, find another questions for other people to answer. If you're trying to come up with a story to beat the other guy's story, that always gets really irritating. They don't want to talk to you real quick. It's like, yeah, I, I, I went to Venice last year. Really? Oh yeah, I've been to Venice a couple of times. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh man, I hate that
Yeah, whatever.
when people do
Yeah.
that.
And then, if you talk in terms of their interests, what are they interested in? So there was a guy at the reception last night who was a boxer. Like, wow, that's something I could listen to for a long time. And I got stumped on a boxer's name, and I wanted to ask him, what he thought of this boxer. It's like, uh, and so the conversation just kind of trailed off because it's like I'm trying to make myself sound interesting and like I know what he does, and then he just kind of walked off, and I didn't talk to him for the rest of the night. Darn it, I failed there. Heck. So
Scott, can I say something?
sure, please do.
Okay. Yeah, with Bruno, for example, when I entered his program,
Mm-hmm.
one of the first things he told me was, okay, is no one cares about you.
Right.
And I was so on the wrong side of the, how to say, I was doing things differently. I am changing careers.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working in enterprises, in the IT world, sysadmin, and I recently, like 5 years ago, became a software developer because I was interested in the challenge and doing things. And it has been a game changer because I used to work alone by myself. I had people that helped me, but it was like almost a solo job. And now I'm working with people and with teams and every day is an interaction with new people. And I am like you, Scott. I'm very introverted. I'm very, very introverted. I prefer emails or text that talking, and it because it's the way I am. So the thing I have learned with Bruno and also with you now is to listen. He has done a lot of emphasis, and I need to learn to listen to the people, to my clients, to my boss. What do they want from me?
Right.
So they want from me to help to find a solution, to deliver a job, to deliver. So it has been difficult, but it has been also a good skill to learn to listen.
Right.
Because I'm very used to to feel that I'm right in every way. And
Yeah.
no, it's my way, not the highway, right? So no, I need to listen. And even if maybe I'm feeling the urge of correct the other people, I need to stay calm and to listen first, and then and then came up with something and to find, okay, I think I'm right because of this. No, but sometimes I need to also to do what they want, even it is not what I want. It has been difficult for me to learn this skill, to learn to listen.
Right.
But it's been great also because if you learn this skill in your job, you also apply in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And also you start to listen to you start to do things like it's like there is a say in a quote in the Gladiator movie at the beginning of the movie that it has always struck me because Maximus the general is in the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, like, you do one thing, you do all the things in your life.
Yeah.
And it really is true. And if you learn to listen in your job, you also listen to in your life, around
Right.
your friends. So it is not a very it's not a light skill. I think it's a strong skill to learn to listen.
Absolutely.
For me, it has been an amazing experience to
Yeah.
learn to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
And
Thank
it's
you.
a skill that, like I said, my father gave me this book when I was 10. So it's been many years that I read this book, and I've known I need to listen. I'm still working. So It's a tough skill to master. So yeah, and talking in terms of the other person's interest, right? Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. I mean, everyone knows when you're, they're just blowing smoke and you just okay, yeah, whatever. But flattery does not impress most people, unless you're like a dictator or something like that. But most people want to have sincere appreciation, want to want the compliments they receive to be genuine. So, yeah, if you are complimenting someone, tell them what you're complimenting them for. You you really you really did that presentation well. That was very clear and understandable. You, you
Yeah, I have a video I will share with you guys because I saw this video about there is this woman on internet and she's teaching how to be more sociable and more
Mhm.
like this. And she says when you listen to other people, it's good to tilt your head. It's like, oh yeah, really?
Really?
It's like it's a nice
Okay.
skill, but you must be sincere. Like, oh, tell me more. And
Right.
like, oh.
That's such a good tip.
That's
Yes,
great.
yeah, and for example, she also says that when she has these tips when you are when you have meetings online, that you have to show your hands. That it's good to show your hands because
Okay.
you should trust. It's like a signal of trust. The people that show their hands is like yeah, the other people that are receiving the image is like, oh, she is like subconsciously, the other person has nothing to hide. It's clear to me. It's being honest, and you have to show your hands
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
it's a really interesting good book. And sometimes, yeah, and do that they head. Oh, yes.
I feel like I feel like the hands thing, like I do that in real life, but when I'm just like sat behind a screen, I just have my hands down here because it's like
Well, it's
it's
hard
kind of
to.
hard to be like woo, like animated, I think. I think that
Yeah.
takes a lot of practice.
Right.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. It's good to talk with your hands and do some gestures with your hands. Like
Yeah,
also when you're explaining something like you know you do like this and yeah,
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, yeah. But I will share with you. It was a really interesting video that could be a good add-on to
Yeah.
these
Why don't you
topics.
put the link to it in the Discord when you find it? That would be
Yes,
helpful.
sure. I will do it later in the Discord.
Yeah. One tip I learned that I found really helpful to help you to listen, to help you to really listen to somebody is look at their mouth when they're speaking. Because if you're looking around the room or whatever, it's easy to get distracted and not really listen to them. But it helps you to really focus on what they're saying, and it gives them the idea that you are really listening to them. So I thought that's something that I've practiced a lot, especially if it's a really boring meeting and they're not a good speaker. It's like if I look at their mouth and it forces me to really listen, and then I start taking notes and stuff. So some more principles. He's got a section on how to win people to your way of thinking. So this is targeted at the salesperson, which, frankly, we're all salespeople in how we operate in our daily life. We've got to sell our spouse on going to the restaurant we want to go to, or something like that, or going to the movie we want to see, uh, or we have to sell our boss on our idea, or we have to sell our coworkers on our way of doing things. So this is these are all really helpful skills. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. You cannot win an argument. It just that's the bottom line. If you do win an argument, the other person will just be resentful. Was it the person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still? And so just don't go there. Never tell somebody that they're wrong. Um, no one likes to hear that they're wrong about something. instead you can suggest, here's another way of looking at it that I was thinking about. What do you think? And then lead them to a different perspective. But just tell somebody they're wrong, they're going to dig in their heels.
I like your approach because I use I disagree.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is also the same as you're wrong, maybe.
Well, I disagree is at least puts it on you.
Okay.
But it also throws up defenses, and now you're on the verge of starting an argument. So,
Okay, so can you repeat the phrase because I want to
well,
try to use it?
Here's another perspective that I was thinking. What do you think?
Here's another perspective
Yeah.
of
Here's a different way of looking at it.
a different way to looking at it.
Or
Okay.
here's something that I was thinking that's a little different, and you can try that.
Okay. And if they go the other way, I won't get mad. I say, okay, it's okay. It's a democracy now.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, yeah. I have issues with that. I tend to correct to people a lot. I don't say you're wrong. It's like, no, that is not how it's done. It's like I'm saying you're wrong in other ways, or maybe in my language,
Right.
Yeah, and something, yeah, and it has led me to issues.
Right.
And
Well,
yeah.
Again, if someone tells you you're wrong, you're going to dig in your heels, and I'm ready to fight now. So the other thing, if someone points out that you're wrong, and you realize you are wrong, admit it. Say, yeah, you know what? I was wrong. I completely misunderstood what we were talking about, and this is thanks for pointing that out. And and that also ties in with the begin in a friendly way. If you start with no, you're wrong, then they're going to start with a fight. Or if you start with a gruff approach, just this is the way it is, and it has to be my way or the highway, then people are not going to be sold on it.
Yeah.
If you smile and say, hey, so let me tell you about something, then it's a whole lot easier to get them on board. Get the other person saying yes.
I think it's like, sorry to interrupt, but I think it's like kind of good like to maybe try the other person's idea, like even if you don't agree with it.
Right.
Obviously if it's something that might take ages, then you've got to compromise. But if it's just a small thing, then it's kind of nice to just give it a go, and sort of it might work. You don't know, like you could just be really confident in what you think, and maybe actually you are wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah,
be reasonable, do it my way.
for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of times I've been very humbled to find that this guy who has less experience than me does know a thing or two, and he's his approach isn't such a bad idea. Right.
For sure.
But yeah, also get them saying yes. So it's like, okay, so you say we should get things done more quickly, right? Okay, and you say it needs to be more stable, right? And you say that what's really important is creating value for the customer, right? Okay, so if this is what we're trying to do, I'm thinking that the best way to do it is that we take this approach, and and then let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Make sure that they are all talked out before you start trying to sell them on your idea. Make sure that they feel heard. If they don't feel like you've listened to them, then they're not going to waste any time listening to you. What is it? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Can let me write that phrase? I really love it.
Sure. People don't know how much people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Sure
Sorry,
thing.
I'm a slow writer. Yes. People,
people don't care how much you know
Uh-huh.
until they know how much you care.
Thank
That
you.
makes sense? Yeah.
Makes total sense. Thank you very much.
Okay. And then this is hard. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. You know, it's like, how do you do that? Well,
Inception.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
No, it was like, well, everybody wants credit. You know, this was my idea, and they're stealing my credit. Well, you know, I think it's Ben Franklin said that it's amazing how much you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. Um, so that's it's important to be able to just say, you know, let's just do the right thing and not worry about who gets credit. And then, yeah, try to honestly see things from the other person's point of view. So, you know, when you let them get it all talked out, what you can do is to explain to them what they said to you, to make sure that they know that you understood what they were saying. So make sure that they realize that you are able to see things from their perspective. That's really helpful. I was on a a jury, um, whatever, a jury for a lawsuit one time, and we were split 6-6, and I suggested, okay, let's just go around the room and have everyone explain the their idea of the lawsuit from the other person's perspective, and so we did that, and it didn't change anything, but at least the arguments were were not as as pointed, that we could say, okay, so you are properly explaining the other side's position. And we ultimately just said, okay, fine, we're hung. It's we're not making any progress. So, but
What was the outcome of the lawsuit?
um, it was a hung jury. So that, I mean, it was
Yeah.
6-6. It
Wow.
was about as split as possible. So, you know, they thanked us, and I guess they went back and tried again.
Do they like have to hire another jury then to sort of
Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. They got
do
to
that? Wow.
run everything from the bottom again. Otherwise, they'll try and settle it again. So
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Again, you know, when you're able to see things from the other perspective, and you let them know that you can see it from their perspective, that makes a huge difference. Appeal to the nobler motives. Basically, tell them this. You know, this is the honest thing to do. This is the way to really, you know, make your wife happy. This is the way to really, you know, please the customer. This is the way to really make the boss happy. Something like that. Make it make it so that you're making them the good guy in the story. You're going to be the hero in the story if we do it this way. And so
Yeah,
that's always
exactly. It's like focus on the intention of the person.
right.
You know, they didn't mean to hurt you. They didn't do this for to hurt you. It's just their
Right.
opinion or their point of view or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to look at it too. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then dramatize your ideas. This is especially helpful for, you know, for the boss, and make it exciting. So, okay, so all right, let's picture a world where all of our code is tested. Man, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Doesn't exist.
Right. and and also, you know, especially, you know, for coworkers, throw down a challenge. Okay, all right. I bet if we really, you know, if we really want to do a release that the testers don't find any problems with, we can do that. So let's find a way. I bet if we can get this done in whatever, in some period of time, we can really win a few extra customers, or we can really impress the boss and he'll give us a day off or whatever. But yeah, throwing down a challenge is good to, I guess that works especially with guys. I don't know, I can't speak for the women. The guys always rise to a challenge.
Absolutely.
And
How
then,
would you recommend like sort of remembering all these sort of tips, you know? Because like sometimes when you're in the heat of the conversation, it's quite hard to just like
yeah,
remember this, you
yeah,
know, bullet
there's
point.
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be sharing the link to the slides here, and
Mm,
um, and what I can do. Well, basically, I recommend you get the book and you read it. Like I said, reread that book at least once a year. It's not a super long book, but what you can do is like read through it and highlight the parts that are interesting, and then just go back and review it. And it's like I
mhm.
go back and I look at this, man, that's something I need to really work on. And so I work on one specific attribute at a time to to develop that skill. And there's some things that I'm better at and some things that I'm worse at. And then I'll have an experience like last night where I say, okay, these things I did well, these things I really need to practice better on. So, but just
That's a
yeah,
good idea.
By the
having
way,
a list.
Scott, I just bought the book. It will arrive next Wednesday, so
Very
Wow.
good.
I will share a picture in the Discord server of my book.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
I'll buy it today.
All right. You won't be sorry. I'm sure you could find it at any bookstore. It's still one of the most popular books available.
Hmm.
But and then here's some basic leadership skills: how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. It's these come in handy if you're a parent, if you're a manager, or if you're just trying to lead your fellow developers. You can become the de facto leader without being the actual boss. Have the label. To begin with praise and honest appreciation. We talked about that before. You want to make sure that they know that you think highly of them. One thing, we the company hires people, and you may disagree with it, but you figure that the company hired this person for a reason. So find one reason why they're skilled or why they were hired, and just focus on that, so that you have to have some sort of respect for them before you can work effectively with them. And if you notice somebody's made a mistake, never call them out in front of everybody. Don't embarrass somebody.
Yeah.
That can really destroy people.
Can I share some experience on these 2 points?
Absolutely.
Okay, first, for example, one of the reasons I changed careers is because in my last job, my past job, I didn't feel appreciated at all.
Absolutely.
It's just like I know that maybe the company won't raise my salary, but I just want a pat in the back, like you're doing good, And it is really demoralizing for a worker to don't feel appreciated, to don't feel that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was one of the factors that made change careers. And in my new job, it has been a struggle because I have not a strong background as a developer.
Mhm.
However, there have been occasions where I've been appreciated, and it feels like a plus, like fireworks for me. Because sometimes in a meeting when everybody is in the meeting, sometimes the people say, "Oh, and a shout out for Patty that did this," right? And it feels really good, and it really encourage you to make an effort and to try to do your best. It's really good. It feels awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also I just said call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. I try to be careful because for example, I have found that maybe well, I don't know how to handle this in my new job because I sometimes feel like I found code that broke another piece of code.
Mhm.
because I have junior developers that don't have the care to test the functionality in the overall application.
Right.
And I don't know how to handle this. I said that to my, I don't know. I don't want to be the bad guy that, oh my God, that person did this, right?
Right.
But I don't know how to handle that. I just found the bug and corrected, and now the app is working and everything is
Right.
good. But I
Um,
had just to finish, I had an experience where I was taking dance classes, and it was actually for me because I was learning to dance. And I have difficulty to differentiate between left and right. Always, it has been a thing for me all my life.
Mhm.
And there was this class. I feel confident because I was learning. I was doing better every lesson. But one day, my teacher, or the teacher that was in front of the class, she told me to turn right or left. I made a mistake, and I told her I have difficulty to do this, and she, in front of everyone, kind of called my attention, and she told me, even, are you dyslexic or something? But it was like in front of the people.
Right.
And
Wow.
that was the last time I came back to that class,
I
because
believe it.
Yeah.
it wasn't that strong, like, I was like not even a big offender, right? But it doesn't feel good that in
Yeah.
front of all the people tell you that you're doing things wrong. It's not good.
Right. Yeah. Having your
So
weakness called out in front of everyone.
I try to avoid that, to do that to everyone, to every
Absolutely. Yeah.
in every because you don't know how the other people will react,
Right.
I think it's a very, very, very good point that you're making here. Call attention to
Right.
people's mistakes indirectly, but I don't know how to do that. I need
Yeah.
to learn to do that also in my new job, because it's a everyday interaction, and
Mhm.
sometimes you found that there are mistakes made.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough, I guess. Like, do you go behind their back and like fix the mistake, or is there another way of sort of gently sort of prompting? I'd be interested to hear your tips, Scott,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
on that.
Yeah, also me.
Well, um, we were going to cover it later, but it's okay. One thing, if you know how to pair program, um, one thing that is really helpful is to just sit down with somebody and work together on something. And when they're doing something wrong, you can suggest, okay, look, here's a way that I do it, and you can show that to them, and make it appealing at least, and that if they're open to learning, then that can really help make things better. Okay, or you can
Mm.
just point out, you forgot to do this, or so we forgot to write a test. Let's see how we might do that. And a lot of times people don't want to. When I'm working with somebody, people don't want to admit they don't know how to write a test, because I was like, I don't even know how I would test that. Well, okay, so let's step back. What is making this thing difficult to test? Maybe that's our problem. So then it's your problem. It's your fault. This is our problem. We've been working on this together, and here's what we've overlooked, and that sort of thing. There's a there's a guy that I work with on an open source project, and everything we do is pairing. And basically, I'm typing and he's telling me what to type. And through that way, I'm learning the whole way. He calls it strong style pairing. And I have learned so much just by working with him and typing in what he tells me to type. So, oh, that's a different way to do things. I didn't know you could. Oh, it has the IDE has this shortcut. I didn't realize that. That's really cool. That's helpful. So that's a simple way, and I guess a way that doesn't look like you're trying to tell them what to do, you know,
Mhm.
but it's a way that they'll be more open to whatever you suggest. So,
I like you. How do you use we our
Yeah,
like it's like no you're forgetting no we're
right.
forgetting. I like that.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
that's easier to do when you're pairing on something. It's like, oh, we forgot to do this. It's a good thing I remembered, man, because I I forget to do that all the time. So yeah, yeah. Again, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. So yeah, I I I find it's if I'm if I blame myself first, it's all my fault. Then they're more open to any suggestions I might have for how to make it better, or they may propose something that I hadn't thought of. And, I can eat a little more humble pie. Oh yeah, that's a better idea. So um, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Um, yeah, making requests. This is again, we've got this new Scrum Master who's nagging us all the time, and it just doesn't work. I've tried to tell her, and she says, "Oh yeah, that's great, that's great. I'll do that tomorrow." And I've given her websites and books and suggestions to. Yeah, yeah, thank you very much. This is very helpful. And then the next morning, you guys aren't doing this. We need to do this. What is the matter? Okay, this is not going to help. Okay, I mean, I can't tell you, but and let the other person save face. Um, don't 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 embarrass somebody in front of everybody, but also don't don't make it their fault. Don't make somebody else wrong. Um, just we were really pushing for a deadline, and it's easy to overlook things when you're trying to get all this stuff done. Give them an excuse, and they'll latch onto it, and they'll be your best friend. Praise the slightest improvement. Praise every improvement. Yeah, I like the way he says this. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. Uh, be the one who is praising everybody else on the team, and you'll be everybody's best friend. And that's just the bottom line. Because as you pointed out, Patty, that they're so often, especially in our careers, we don't get any appreciation for what we've done. But if somebody on the team is one to point out the good things we've done, they're they're everybody's favorite. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. If you're trying to get somebody to change the way they're doing things, stop being a lazy programmer. We're all professionals here, right? And we want to do best practices, and we know what the best practices are. And so this is something that you know, I really aspire to do for myself, and I'm sure that y'all do it too. So maybe you can help me to make sure that I get these tests written, and then yeah, they've got a reputation to live up to because you're calling them out as the guy who makes sure that we get all the tests done, and so they'll make sure that they get those tests done. You know, uh, and again, use encouragement, make it seem like it's easy to correct. Um, it just you want to make sure that people don't feel like an idiot.
Mhm.
Especially in a technical career, it's so easy to feel like I'm an idiot. I don't know. All these other people know more than I do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if you encourage somebody, say, "Oh yeah, I struggled with this Lambda thing forever, and it's okay." Or I struggle with learning. I don't know, maybe not you, but I struggled with learning object orientation for months when I was first figuring it out. And so it's okay. It's okay. It's a technical job, and it's stuff that we have to learn. And you'll get it. You're smart. We hired you because you're smart, and you'll figure it out. And then
Awesome.
make the other person happy about doing what you suggest. So find a way to celebrate them, appreciate them, and I tell you what, people will do amazing things for a little bit of appreciation. It's
Yes.
incredible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, so yeah. So how do we apply these principles in our family? Um, well, I mean, if you the idea don't criticize and complain and condemn, you know, you if basically that's a short way to say stay married, you know. Want to make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. You don't want to give your spouse or your child a, a meaningless compliment, right? You want them to sincerely feel good about something. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Amen. You never win an argument with your spouse. That's all there is to it. And if you shame your children, then that's gonna that's gonna hinder them for life. You know, you
Yes.
always want to be encouraging them and listening to them, make them feel important. Um, for friends, you know, to win a friend, you have to be a friend, right? And so you need to become genuinely interested in the other person and you know what they do and what they find important and that sort of thing. Take an interest in it, and then it's easy to make friends. And then I mean, why? Uh, I heard that you know that a friend is someone who is useless. Now, you don't befriend somebody
Mm-hmm.
uh, because of some reason, because they're you know they're good at helping you learn stuff, or because they're strong and can help you move, or you know you befriend somebody just because they're a cool person to be with, you know, and you want to be with them. So they say, you know, friends are useless. If you've
Nice.
got a useful friend, they're not really a friend. They're like an employee or a consultant or something like that. But yeah, you want to be able to build a friendship. You want to be able to listen and talk respectfully and make them feel important. You know, that's why you hang out with friends. And even strangers. If you want a stranger to become a friend, you know, then you can be a friend to them. Remember their name. You know, I still remember that guy in college. That and I don't remember his name. It's hilarious. But I mean, he would remember my name every time he saw me. You know, just become genuinely interested in somebody, and they won't be stranger for long. You know, um, your coworker, let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Try to see things from their perspective. Um, that these are the things that make working more effective. You can get more done with somebody when you're on the same team, you're pulling in the same direction. There's a story of these, I think they had a horse trying to pull a load, and I think he was able to pull, say, I don't know, 1,000 pounds. And when they had two horses pulling together, they figured, well, they should be able to pull 2,000 pounds. Well, it turned out two horses pulling together were able to pull like 5,000. And so it's when you're working together on a project,
Yeah.
you can get so
Yeah.
much more done than if you're working on it alone. Um, and this is one of the advantages of pair programming is you can you stay more focused on the problem. If you get stuck, you're not going to get distracted on something, and you can get ideas right there from somebody else who has a different perspective and come up with a better solution. So yeah, uh, these principles come in really, really handy in working with other people in your team. And you know, working with your manager, you need to manage up, right? You need to make sure your manager feels appreciated because they rarely do. Everyone's always saying the manager is an idiot, right? Like the pointy-haired boss in Dilbert. But
Let me just on the last slide,
yeah,
I was remembering a proverb, African proverb.
mhm,
It says, if you want to go fast, go low. If you want to go far, go together.
there you go. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, but I want to copy and paste it in the chat.
Okay.
I want you to encourage me to do that.
Oh, very good.
Okay, let me share it. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we're all hungry for
I'm also
inspiration.
taking all your quotes are. I'm also taking notes like the Ben Franklin and
Sure.
friends are useless also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Um, and when you're working with your manager, this is where it's most important to talk in terms of the other person's interests. If you remember that it's your job to make your manager successful, then they will in turn help you to be successful. But if you're not thinking in terms of what your manager needs, then your manager is going to be nothing but he'll give you nothing but resistance for what you're trying to do. So it's really really key to think of things from your manager's perspective. What is going to make him look good? What is his boss going to be asking him for? And how can I help him to get done the things that he needs to do? And then finally, your customers. You need to be friendly with your customers, get them saying yes, yes, and all the principles we have, making them feel special and listened to. Make sure you really understand where they're coming from, so that any solution you're proposing is going to really meet their needs. So yeah, that's that's really how we can apply it in our life. So I've got some quotes from the book that really stood out for me that I want to share. Um, don't criticize. Criticism is futile because it puts a person on the defensive, usually makes him strive to justify himself. It's dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts his sense of importance, and arouses resentment. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. But it takes character, self-control to be understanding and forgiving. This guy's a brilliant writer. People are emotional. When you're dealing with people, remember, we're not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion, creatures bristling with prejudices and motivated by pride and vanity. That is so hard to remember, and especially since we tend to be technical and you think the logical argument is going to win. No, no, you need to make them feel important, and then it doesn't matter what the logic is. The key to influencing others, the only way on earth to influence other people, talk about what they want and show them how to get it. Mm-hmm. Right? And that is if you're going to take anything away, this is probably the best way to work with people. This is a key value to keep in mind. The secret of success, is there any one secret of success? It lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. And the only way to do that is be able to listen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really all I have. Communicate masterfully, make friends, and influence people.
That's super useful. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, I hope you're going to be able to take this and apply it in your life. And stop sharing. And yeah, I will get this uploaded and share a link to the slides probably when I get home early in the week. I don't know if I'll have time to do it today. But,
Cool.
any
Thank you
other
so much. That was very
comments or
useful.
questions?
Scott, this lesson today has inspired me to write an article because I have so many experiences, but I just want to put them in a article, maybe on Medium or something, and I will share it with you guys because it really
Excellent.
has inspired me a lot.
Yeah, put
So,
a link to it on the Discord. That'd be great.
yeah, I will put the goal for this week to write it because you know it is really, it was a really good talk today.
Excellent. I'm glad you liked it. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything that you like want us to do over this coming week, or like anything like sort of homework wise or stuff like that?
Well, probably the best thing you could do is get a copy of that book, and
Okay.
and just start reading through it. And I think you'll agree that it's one that you're going to want to go back and return to on a regular basis. I know some people who read it once a month. I think that's a little excessive, but it's one of those that I like to set aside a little bit of time every year and at least flip through and look through the things that I've highlighted. You can also find online a number of people have summarized the book, and you read through their summary. That's also helpful.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, the first thing I would recommend you do is get a copy of it so you can. I've got like 4 or 5 copies of it, so just
One in every room of the house,
no,
just in case.
no. It's I keep extra copies to give to friends and that sort of thing, and yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes I just like to have an older copy of a book or that sort of thing. But yeah,
Nice.
I don't know. I just I'm a book nerd.
Yeah,
A
we're
lot of books.
I think we
Same.
all are.
Usually when I'm
By the way,
talking,
it's got amazing background. The blue of the sky in your window is amazing.
oh yeah, yeah, it's a
Nice.
gorgeous day today. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well,
I will find the video and I will share it right away with you guys in the Discord.
okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Cool. Nice to
Bye.
meet you, Patty. And yeah, I'll
Yes.
see you next week, I guess. Saturday.
Yeah,
Yes, next
Yeah.
Saturday.
absolutely. Yeah. Next Saturday is going to be cool because I'm going to be traveling again, and Bruno will
Mhm.
be heading it up. He's going to do a session on negotiations. So it should be really cool.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep. So,
Tough.
Awesome.
Yeah.
all righty
All
then.
right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you, Scott.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Jenny. Bye.
Bye.